first of all, can we please have a huge round of applause for Team WebEngage? They've done a fantastic job curating this in Mumbai. We see a lot of action happening in Bangalore, Delhi, everywhere else, but good to see the action coming in here in Mumbai as well, and bringing in folks like Rajagopal sir, and helping us all come together and learn in these sessions, right? So the session, like it's aptly titled, Secret Ingredients That Category Creators Are Trying to Protect. So we'll try and spill some secrets via Raj here. So I'll just do a quick introduction. I'm Aditya. I'm the co-founder of the community called the Product Folks. We are Asia's largest product management community. We also run a Web3 community called the Product House. So super excited to be here and host Rajagopal Menon. He's a VP of marketing at WazirX. He comes with 2 decades of experience, literally an industry veteran. We were just chatting behind the scenes, and I'm like personally stoked to be learning from him. Here, he has been at Geo. He has spent over a decade at Games to Win, Contest to Win. So lots to learn here, right? So Raj, I'll start with an easy one. What's really happening in the crypto space? Like we are all very.
So how many guys are invested into crypto here? That's quite a bit, yeah.
How many are still holding? Rest of you need to pay attention.
So awesome. So yeah, to answer your question, the things are not in such a good shape, Aditya. So what's happened is that we've been hit by a double whammy, or actually a triple whammy of factors. First is there is this meltdown that has happened in the crypto space. Second is the Indian government doesn't particularly, I won't say like, but they're not making things very easy for us. So you had levels of taxation coming in. But if you look at it, if you flip it around and be a realist, I'm not an optimist, I'm a realist, it's that this is baby steps towards regulation. So you had taxation happening and crypto bought under PMLA for those guys who are still reading about crypto news. So that means these are baby steps towards regulation, and 2023 is going to be when you'll have a lot of regulation coming into crypto.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you mentioned, lots of confusion, lots of chaos happening in the space, right? And I'm assuming WazirX as a platform, a lot of trust needs to be built for a user to come and invest in a platform, right? It's a financial instrument at the end of the day. How do you go about building that initial trust with users? What are your go-to tips there?
So I'd love to say that, we had this great, product roadmap, Aditya. But as things happened, everything happened through serendipity. So the space is very interesting for those who've been watching it. So WazirX was founded about 5 years ago, 2017, and within 3 months of our launch, 2018, RBI banned banks from working with crypto exchanges. So there were 2 things we could do: we could shut shop and go home, or we could do something about it. So at that time, what Nishal and company did, Nishal is my CEO. I'm talking like, he's my best pal, but he's my CEO. So what we did was that at that time we built a P2P engine. So what we did, so crypto, by the way, for those of us, who don't know what crypto is actually a financial system beyond the conventional financial system. Putting it very mildly, and it's trustless. So it's like, if I have to send money to Aditya, I have to usually go via a bank. Crypto bypasses that. It's literally peer-to-peer. So what happened with Pirate Bay for movies is what crypto is for money. Literally that. So coming back to my story, when the RBI banned banks from working with crypto, we built a P2P exchange, a P2P engine. What this allowed was that consumers could actually buy crypto, and we were just making that marriage happen. So Aditya and I, or anybody for that matter, could buy and sell crypto, and WazirX was just the enabler. So that, and P2P is fraught with a lot of dangers. Things could go bad, transactions, sometimes people won't give you money and all that, but we built it in such a way that it worked very well, and it took a lot of iterations to get there. So that was the first brick or the foundation for the trust-based thing that WazirX still enjoys. So it's been five years now, but still people remember us because we just didn't lie down and roll over. We did something about it, and customers benefited. That was the most important thing in the history of WazirX that we did. So building the P2P engine bought a lot of trust, bought a lot of users, and they stuck with us through thick and thin.
Yeah, makes sense. And one thing that like strikes out here is this is a heavily competitive space, right? And not just from other crypto exchanges, but personal finance as a space. If I have, say, if I earn a lakh rupee a month, and if I want to maybe invest 30,000 rupees a month, right? And now a lot of other products demand attention, be it say mutual funds, it could be stocks, it could be XYZ, right? And crypto is one component in that. So in such a competitive market, how do you like position yourself better, and how do you go about educating users that hey, this is the right choice for you? And obviously with a lot of uncertainty going around, it becomes even more difficult, right? So how do you go about that?
So great question, Aditya. So let's go back and look at the market. So currently, I think there are about 12 crore. I think last count there were 12 crore DP accounts in India, depository participants, depository accounts in India. That means there are 12 crore. WazirX has got 15 million users. Total industry in India, if you put all the exchanges together, it will be about 35 million users. So we're about 3% of the market. So instead of fighting for share of wallet and all that, it would make more sense for us to expand the market. So our motto remains is, what does our motto? Our you know mission is to make crypto accessible for every Indian. There are 140 million, 1.140 crore Indians out there. So the sky is the limit when it comes to scope of growth. And the first thing that you should, so this is what we keep saying, we'll come to education later, but a lot of people get into crypto for all the wrong reasons. I'm sure Aditya will have a bunch of questions about that, so I won't, let me save some of my gyan for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And we spoke about like acquiring users here, but let's dive a little deeper here, right? About retention. Because here a lot of things are not even in your control, like you said, right? There are regulatory changes, lots of like news driven user impact that keeps happening, right? Not everything is in your control. How do you go about retention in this sense? Because obviously you can have product led retention, you can have marketing led retention, but things that you can't even control, how do you go about retention in this sense then?
Yeah, so it's interesting. It's got a lot to do with the category. So during the bull market, WazirX did $48 billion of turnover. This was $48 billion when Bitcoin was at 67,000. Now Bitcoin is at 30,000. Taxation has come in. There's a 1% TDS. It's actually not taxation. We welcome taxation. This 1% TDS has driven a lot of volumes out of Indian exchanges to foreign exchanges. So currently we are at about $10-12 million. So from $48 million, so $48 billion would be roughly about $4 billion a month. So now we are doing how much? We are doing about 3, 4, 36, $30 million a month. So there's nothing I can do about it because it's an act of God, it's act of government. And there's a good thing that we share with all exchanges. So even Nitin Kamath of Zerodha will have the same problem. It's all about sentiment. When Bitcoin was at 67,000, people were lining to buy it up, and my servers were melting. Okay, every 3 hours my servers used to go down because of the sheer demand. And you can plan as a platform owner, I can tell you can plan for 1x 2x redundancy and all that, but you cannot plan for 10x, you cannot plan for 20x volumes. So from those heydays to right now, it's been quite a it's been quite a fall in terms of volumes. So it's all about sentiment. You can do nothing about sentiment. It's herd, when you hear a lot of things about herd mentality in the stock markets, I'm actually living it. People don't want to buy when Bitcoin is available at 30,000. This is 50% off mil raha hai, yaar. Big bazaar, big Indians, what Republic they say, right? But no one wants to buy it. So it's got a lot to do with sentiment, and there's little I can do to, or anybody or any market. Even Steve Jobs would have struggled to sell crypto to investors who are not interested in it. So it's a factor of what you can do at that point of time. It's you can communicate the right things. What you can try and do is that to holders of your own coins, suppose you own a basket of coins, you can tell them what the price movements that are happening in those coins. So Indians love Shiba Inu, Indians love Doge. So I make it a point to, if you hold Shiba Inu or Doge, I tell you, okay, boss, markets are going up. Elon Musk tweeted something crazy, so watch out. So those are things, little things that you can do, but very commonsensical things.
Yeah, absolutely. And now this applies for the entire financial sector at large, right? Because wherever there is monetary incentive, or there is that mentality that, hey, I can maybe 10x my money, 100x my money within a short span, right? What you were talking about, how do you keep the bad actors away? Because it's very tempting for everyone to come and make a quick buck, but how do you balance that off with acquiring the right kind of users and ensuring that you keep the bad actors away?
So on the platform, it's relatively simple. We have a very strong due diligence, very strong compliance, very strong KYC process, and it's everything is held in. You pay your money, you get your crypto. It's as simple as that. I'm just a marketplace that enables this transaction to happen. But what you've touched upon, Aditya, is a larger question. There are lots of scams happening. Where there is money, there is scams. So there will be, right now you have electricity bill scam. It's as mundane as something about electricity bill. If someone can create a scam, imagine crypto. So what you're struggling with is a lot of people, uh, go about telling a lot of nubile and people who are not very synced into crypto. They create a whole host of scams. So that can be countered through education to a certain extent. You have a song, social media education exercise that happens saying, watch out for this, watch out for that. So education plays a very crucial role. But there's no legislation for greed. If you want to make 10x and you believe you can make 10x, no amount of education. It's very impulsive. It's money, right? Money is not rational. It's very emotional. That's what we try and do. We try and educate people as much as possible. We work very, very closely with multiple law enforcement agencies. In fact, we respond to compliance requests within hours. Where it takes 24 hours to 48 hours for others, we respond in 2 or 3 hours. So best practices always help.
That's insane. And I think one of the points that you mentioned around, fraud prevention and customer education, I remember someone from Paytm also, since they are the ones who created the digital transaction category also. They had a huge team just to prevent people from committing frauds, and I'm pretty sure that's become industry standard now, right? So thanks for talking about that. Another thing that you mentioned about is customer education, right? Especially in Web3, when things are so new and things are changing so rapidly, right? It's very imperative that people are not aware about everything right at the outset, right? So how do you get customer education right? How much do you educate, and how much do you let users discover for themselves? How do you go about that?
So the thing that we do is that we have a very, we have a very comprehensive education module. We have a bunch of YouTube videos, tons of YouTube videos built very professionally, which explain how to go about crypto. But it starts with all the stakeholders, like leadership, like me, telling people don't get into crypto for all the wrong reasons. Invest only what you can think you can lose, because it's volatile. Yeah, invest. You spend $10,000 or $5,000 over the weekend partying. Put that money, because you can afford to lose that money, and not lose sleep over it. So there are commonsensical things that happen that we tell them, and always look at a long term point of view. Don't look at it as if 6 months mein aapka paisa double ho jayega. That's the common thing about crypto, because you've heard so many stories about it. But as usual, there is, just for every one guy who's doubled his money in 6 months, there are 1,000 who lost, but no one bothers about it. So what we try and do is drill it. So we conduct a lot of workshops. We go to education institutions. We talk to students about it, because they need to know about it. To blogs. So incidentally, our blogs are one of the biggest blogs in the space. So during the bull run, or during when everything was going great in terms of the category, I had more viewership on the blog, on a WazirX blog. Can you beat it? Than CNBC TV 18. So we were doing lakhs. So a couple of, I think, 3.5 lakhs a day in terms of page views, on the WazirX blog. So we take education very, very seriously, because once you're educated, then it's very easy to lose money and very difficult to make it all again. So we are very, very cognizant of our responsibility, and we try to go about it very, very sensibly.
Fantastic. And especially from a customer education point of view, a lot of companies, I see a lot of marketing professionals as well, uh, they don't realistically know how does that translate into actual retention or actual dollar value within the product, right? A lot of people feel that, okay, customer education is necessary, but it's good to have. It's not a must have, right? Any personal, since like you mentioned, right, the WazirX blog had crazy traction. So have you seen that translate into actual retention or actual dollar value conversion from users?
So with the blogs, it's all about. So it's what happens is that those are users who are, we've already got. You're not going to come to WazirX blog uh, only if you're a WazirX user. Likewise, you'll go to a Zerodha blog if you're a Zerodha user. Um, what we've managed to do very effectively, Aditya, is we've managed to track everything. So I know from multiple sources the traffic that is coming, which is giving me the best type of traffic. What are the conversions? So we track, for us, it's first deposit is very important because that translates into intent. So those are the things that we track. We also can understand the quality of people that are coming. So, I was dead against, my marketing manager putting a lot of money on meme sites. I was saying, what extra traffic will come here? Are you crazy? But, experience, my gray hair has taught me that say never. And what we did was that we got pretty good, the ticket size was less. Conversions were very good, ticket size was very less. But at the end of the day, I'm not looking for HNIs on news sites. So, but it was a very good learning experience. You have to declutter your head and relearn what you've learned long time ago. So I was very happy, and that guy stood by his guns, my marketing guy, and he told me, nahi sir, karna padega. So we did it, and that turned out to be a very good experience.
Amazing. And this is like very experimental in nature, right? You folks had never tried memes and they apparently worked out really well. So I'm pretty sure that this must be true for a lot of marketing campaigns or a lot of marketing activities that you have done over the years, right? So what are some signals or what are some metrics that you look for to judge whether this is a success or not, right? I'm pretty sure there are some indicators, early indicators, or things that you might be keeping an eye out to say that, okay, this is working, this is not working, let's double down, let's cut down? How do you take those calls?
So what we do is that, of course, we have our review meetings and where we monitor traffic to conversion to actually, what is the LTV, what is the CPA, and you have all those complicated graphs. What we also did was that from my geo days, I hired a rocket scientist who's now gone back to the US. So we actually plotted, and this is a very interesting thing. So what we managed to do was that we managed to actually plot within a month when this guy is going to go dormant. So with modeling and with this transaction data, you can actually figure out that, okay, fine, he or she is okay, his interest is waning, and we could actually predict that this guy is going to go dormant and you need to catch this person right now. So those types of matrices, I call them rocket science mathematics. So these guys are crazy, my data team. We did that really well and it worked to a lot. And then, so those are the things that you have to keep doing. So you do modeling at one end, you do crazy stuff in marketing because you never know. So there is this influencer I remember that we hired, and she was a poetess. I've forgotten her name. Middle-aged. She used to she speaks really well. And she was a poetess. So I was asking, what are you guys thinking? What are you smoking? So he said, sir, aap dekhte jao kya hota hai. And through. But she spoke so well, and she had her own really dedicated audience, which were not the guys that you and I would normally think of, in our persona, consumer persona, and all that. And again, really interesting numbers. I can laugh and say that most of my campaigns worked, but some of them worked. Most of them, might not have given the numbers that we hope for, but we try and break even in most. And there will always be a couple of things that bombed, but these are the things that stick to your memory. A poetess, a meme site that did really well.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have seen this happening across in our community as well.
By the way, celebrities didn't work very well for me. Yeah.
Oh, let's let's talk about that. What do you think about that? What didn't work particularly?
So again, closed room session. Okay.
Yeah, so no one's hearing us.
Yeah. So again, a very nice story. So this suddenly I get this huge, I get this call saying, Raj, we managed to crack this deal. What? This huge South Indian superstar lady, we are going to get her. So I said, okay, go on. So she says, so he says, he was all excited. He says, yeah, just 25 lakhs for a tweet. So I don't know what I was doing. I think I was drinking tea or coffee, something that just fell out of my hands. I said, boss, I will not sign on this RO because there's no way on earth that you can do ROI on this. So fortunately, we said no. But what we've realized is that they'll give you a lot of attention. They'll give you a lot of initial bump for your numbers, but it's not sustainable. There are all these fan clubs that come into picture. So then again, crazy things you can do. You can do Shah Salman Khan versus SRK fans and all that. So a lot of crazy stuff happens on the internet, which you can leverage if you're smart about it. But then you realize that the traffic is not worth it. The consumers that you're acquiring are not worth it. What you want at the end of the day is a guy who can put in 1,000, 2,000 bucks, and stay with you for over 10, 20 years of time. Not someone who says, "Oh my God, bhai aa gaya hai," come to WazirX. So those are not the type of people that we're looking for. No disrespect for anybody, but people's priorities are completely different when it comes to crypto.
Like on the flip side, I'm assuming there might be cases where celebrity endorsements work really well, right? What are those cases like? In what cases should someone opt for, say, celebrity endorsements versus like organic stuff?
So again, this is where you have to be very careful, Aditya. What we realized, okay, because we've been here for a long time, we've survived two bans, one ban, and a lot of crazy. If you've read the papers, you know what we've been going through. What we realized very early on, again, this is full credit to Nishal. So he realized very early on that things could go bad. Let's not take we are already the Xerox of the category. So if anyone wants to make an example out of the category, you pick up the phone and call WazirX. It's literally that. So what we did was that we were on the verge of signing a megastar, and then we pulled the plug in the last minute because we realized it would attract too much attention. Competition did that. They had a lot of they had a huge marketing campaign around that. And then we were hauled to the JPC. The parliament called us and saying, "You are spoiling the youth of India." so crazy stuff. So it's best not to attract too much attention. So we remained under the radar. We didn't do anything crazy. We didn't spend crazy amounts of money on marketing, getting celebrities and all that. But it's good for certain categories. But it's not good for categories that are, especially crypto, that are attracting attention for all the wrong reasons.
Absolutely. Last few minutes here. So this was again not part of the agenda, but backstage when we were chatting, I realized that Raj was actually part of the original Geo launch team, right? And we know how Geo has played a like monumental role in shaping the last few years on the internet. So like I was personally pretty curious. How was that launch experience like? It was a massive launch, right? For initial 6 months were like euphoric, especially for everyone who got free internet. But after that, it completely changed the landscape for everyone, and it was something that I don't think a lot of other companies could have pulled off the way Reliance did with Geo. So talk us through your experiences and how was that like maniacal experience like?
I got this call and you said that, come meet with the management. So I went and we have all our preconceived notions about Reliance, and the guy who was hiring me was a guy from Apple. So I said, "Oh, things are changing." So then MacBooks all around, and this guy is from Apple. He's hired from Apple, and then and then it was not one round, multiple guys. So Google guys, Ericsson guys, Siemens guys, Apple guys, and all that. And then I finally was convinced that there is something big happening, and I didn't want to miss out on that. And one thing that struck me was that so during the first few days of my launch only, of my joining only, we were all summoned because MDA. So internally, we call Mukesh Ambani is called MDA. So MDA wanted to speak to us. So all of us were summoned, and it was a huge conference room. And MDA said, so you're in charge of websites, app, and all that. Can you handle $100 million users? So we had built the website and all that 100 million. So then we were wondering what he's talking about. He said, "Nahi, mere ko 100 million chahiye. Your website has to be able to handle 100 million." So karenge, sir. But we, at that time, that is what amazes me. He was crystal clear on day one that in 100 days I want 100 million users. Now 100 days may or may not have happened, but that clarity of thought to say that, boss, mere ko 100 million chahiye, and everything was geared towards that. So he was thinking big at that time when we were thinking, "Arey boss, hum log, we have to be number 3, number 2, number 1 aa jayenge." He was very clear. Mere ko number 1 banna hai day 1 pe. So that was one thing. The other thing that struck me is that very, very prescient. You don't think all this comes back to you in hindsight. So he said, "मेरे को customer service नहीं चाहिए. I want the customer to." So then you do the math and you realize that every call, to customer service at that time was about $8, I think. You are saying, I want self-help to be huge in Geo. And again, you didn't understand that, right? You said, okay, ho jayega. But then then again, we built the website, we built the app in such a way. And, at that time, we had chatbots. This was 2016, 17. 2017, we had chatbots in Geo. And we had our own version of AI. I won't call it AI, but programmatically understanding customer problems and troubleshooting them from the customer device itself. At that time, we had test stuff ready in Geo. So there are a lot of fabulous things that we did at Geo. I can go on and on, but I think in the interest of time,
No, thanks so much for sharing that. One last question that I wanted to quick in. You have worked for over 2 decades in the Web2 space, right? Gaming and then contests and then telecom, geo, and then what made you switch to Web3?
Good question, Aditya, because I think fools rush in where angels fear to tread. So initially I was an analyst at ORG Mark. Now it's called AC Nielsen, management training, wet behind the ears. And then I saw this web. What is this web happening? This is early 2000s. So I decided, without thinking, I said, "No, mereko ye karna hai." So and I jumped straight in without knowing much what I was getting into. So that was my intro into the original web. At the time there was Yahoo and Sabir Bhatia was I don't know if you guys are that of my vintage, but those were the good things. So, we actually, guys like us actually went and sold internet solutions to a whole host of brands. So, like Coca-Cola, like L'Oreal. I remember my first big deal was with L'Oreal, Pepsi, Coca-Cola, bunch of other guys, Airtel. So that was the first thing. The second thing was when I got the call from Jio, which is, we want to transform mobile telephony in India. That was the pitch to me. And, you don't want to be the part of the world's biggest startup. So I was bitten. And the third, I think, this is truly transformative Web3 because Web3 is the internet of money. I think Web3 is figured out how to monetize content, how to monetize value. You like it or not, Web3 will continue in some which way. It might not be as transformative as, some Bitcoin maxis might think. But already you can see a lot of effects of Web3 happening. If RBI is launching its own CBDC, you can understand the extent to which, this movement will percolate our lives.
Awesome. We are right at the brink of time, but let's do a quick rapid fire, shall we? Come on, show some energy.
Aditya, I think we did a bad job here.
Let's end with a quick fun rapid fire, right? Raj, what's a marketing growth hack that always works for you?
A referral commission.
Why? I know it's rapid, but yeah.
Yeah. So it works really well because it worked. Again, this is a growth hack that I learned from WazirX. So why WazirX grew so rapidly was because of referral commission. So if I referred Aditya and Aditya transacted on the site, out of every 1 rupee that WazirX made, Raj makes 50 paisa. So, that becomes a huge viral effect by itself. And that was, again, self-propelling. Crypto was new, Bitcoin was new, everyone wanted a piece of it. And that helped us. It was equivalent to Hotmail.
Awesome. A company whose marketing you really admire?
Very difficult. I'd love to say Apple, but Apple is too elitist in my in my book. But I think Pepsi is really very good because they've understood the pulse of the Indian. Pepsi and Coke, both of them, they are very Indianized. Apple is very Americanized. I think Pepsi and Coke have become truly desi brands.
Awesome. If you could be CEO of a company for one day, what company would it be?
No, yeah, it's not worth it. I'm telling you. I'm very, very happy.
Hypothetical.
Hypothetically, I would love to be working on, something. Actually, I'm working for my dream company right now because I truly believe that crypto is really very, very transformative. If the next jump, if I could do something big with Ethereum, that would be my dream. But I'm very happy where I am. I don't want to leave India.
Awesome. Last one. I know you're still pretty young, but what's the advice you would give to your younger self, your 20-year-old self?
Make mistakes. And ideally, you should be in sales, start your career in sales. Because I think, I don't know whether I'm becoming old, I'm sounding like an old uncle, but I think the youngsters have a lot of good things going for them, but they're too fragile. They have too much of an ego. And nothing is better for a youngster than doing sales, because sales makes your ego zero, forces you to think on the feet. I think that's what I recommend for everybody. Just go out there, make mistakes, join sales, fuck up. I'm sorry. Make mistakes, make very big mistakes, so that you can learn from it.
You all know what to do now. So, perfect. Yeah.
I thought that was that's
Awesome. Thanks so much, Raj. Can we please have a huge round of applause for Raj?
Aditya, I've been to a lot of conventions. I do this for a living because I think my job is to evangelize crypto, but I've never had so much fun. Good, really good job, yeah. For all the coordination.
Yeah.
Chalo, cheers.
Chalo, thank you.
Everybody.
Thank
Cheers.
you so much, Rajagopal sir and Aditya.